Power scaling is a method of determining characters' power through comparing them to other characters in their series as defined by the Versus Battle Wiki. It's basically the same thing as the transitive property. A equals B, B equals C, so A equals C. And the best example of power scaling would be Goku versus Superman. Anybody who's ever watched Death Battle would know what I'm talking about, but it's basically people use things that each character has done in their respective comic books, movies, TV shows, etc., to determine who would win in a fight. I've been a fan of who would win in a fight type debates since I was little. Power scaling's kind of been a hobby of mine for a while. It's pretty fun, at least for me, but it's also important for world building, if any of you are writers. The three main aspects I'm going to be covering today are power tiers, speed tiers, and the issues regarding power scaling. Let's get started with the power tiers. The most important term with power tiers is attack potency, and the Versus Wiki also defines that as the destructive capacity that an attack is equivalent to. It's basically a combination of strength, durability, and destructive capacity in one category. And the tiers are, there's a lot of tiers, but I condense them down to 7. The first one is, I'd say, grounded, or street level would be a better word for it, but the basic humans and superhumans, like superhumans that can just like throw trucks and stuff. Then there's nuclear. There are superhumans that can cause mass destruction on a city-wide level, an island-wide level, or an entire country. Then there's lunar, which is someone who can destroy a moon or like completely wipe out all life on Earth. And then there's planetary, someone who could destroy Earth or larger planets like Jupiter and Saturn. Then there's stellar, which is power that's equal to a supernova. Cosmic, that's power that's equal to a black hole, like a big one, the kinds that hold galaxies together. And then there's divine, that's my term for it anyway. It's when someone's powerful enough to destroy galaxies, universes, or even a whole multiverse. That's as far as I can get into without discussing complex stuff like basically omnipotence. Next up is speed tiers. And to understand that, you have to understand that there are 3 types of speed. There's attack speed. Actually, I should start with travel speed, which is running and flying. There's combat speed, which is the speed that you throw punches and kicks. And then there's reaction speed, which is the speed that you think, see, or dodge attacks. The tiers for speed, they start off with human, which is just unimpressive speed. There's superhuman, which is just superhuman. Supersonic, which is faster than the speed of sound. Orbital, which is faster than escape velocity, which is 7 miles per second. There is relativistic speed, which is 1% to 99% of light speed. There's superluminal, which is just faster than the speed of light. There's hyperluminal, which is thousands of times faster than light, if not more. There's infinite speed. Then beyond that, there's inaccessible speed, which is where you move so fast that if time stopped, that would have no effect on you. And then immeasurable speed, which is where you're so fast that you can fly across universes or travel backwards in time. So with that, there is some problems with power scaling. Writer inconsistency is a big one because some writers write characters' powers differently. That happens a lot. There is also the factor of whether or not a character holds back. Superman does it, Goku does it. Anyone who is doing it to save people or because they're arrogant, that's usually a huge factor. And then another big one is that people take the scenes, the feats, the statements out of context. Sometimes it's just a hyperbole that doesn't really mean anything, or sometimes someone adds their own stuff and then misinterprets a scene. And speed scaling has the same problems, except remember those last two tiers I mentioned, inaccessible and immeasurable speed? Well, in real life, that inaccessible speed is light speed because time stops at the speed of light. And immeasurable speed is just arbitrarily faster than light because that's only how fast you need to go to travel backwards in time. But a counterpoint to that argument would be that in fiction, light is faster than in reality. And the best example of that is Star Wars, because spaceships move at light speed to get to other solar systems, but in reality, at light speed, ships would go. It'd take years for ships to go to other solar systems. So, in conclusion, power scaling is a little bit more complex than just the transitive property. I think I've covered that pretty thoroughly. I covered power tiers, speed tiers, and all the issues with power scaling. And once again, it is important for world building and writing, and I don't think enough writers understand that. And those of you who are wondering, no, I'm not autistic.